There is no need to hold on to love. Do not be as the pauper who clings to his gold coin, terrified to part from it. For it is only in release that he learns its true value. Now, that sounds all nice and sweet and stuff, but some people may not love the comparison between love and money, or the association with love and money, because love is supposed to be pure, and money, it's the root of all evil, right? Or the love of money is the root of all evil. It's filthy lucre. People have all these negative associations with one and all these positive associations with the other. But the point is really to highlight that these are two things of value, you know, love and money. Love being the feelings and actions associated with people and things that you hold in high esteem, and money being the paper or metal or numerical representation of value. So if we love something or someone, it's because we deem them of high value. And if something is expensive, it tends to have tremendous utility, tends to, and therefore it is of high value. So why do people have a tendency to hold or cling to high value? Well, on the surface, it's pretty obvious, but when you really think about it, it's actually unwise and even dangerous. So let's explore why that is. So people cling to love for the same reason they cling to money. Both are of high value and both are rare, supposedly. Thus, they fear losing these things. They fear being without love. They fear being without money. There's another reason, though, that these two things are so valuable. When we are faced with the absence of these things, the pain is tremendous. So what's really in control here? Is it our high valuation of love that motivates us to have it? Or is it the fear of being without it? The answer that you give really does matter because it explains your specific experience of love or your relationship with it. So why does the pauper cling to the gold coin? Well, it's because he's poor, right? As far as he's concerned, having a gold coin is the best thing that could ever happen to him. He doesn't necessarily know when next he's going to have such wealth. So by having that coin, he's transformed. Technically, he's not even a pauper anymore. He has some wealth. The problem is, he believes that the moment he spends it, the closer he will be back to poverty. So you can't eat money, and you can't put money on the top of your head and call that a shelter. You have to spend it. But once you spend it, the food's gonna be digested, and that tent or whatever you're spending the money on as shelter will eventually deteriorate. In the pauper's mind, as long as he holds onto the coin, he himself is valuable. He can define himself as valuable. Indeed, society probably would because he has some wealth. But if he lets it go in a trade for things of value, like food or money, or food or shelter or other things, those things will eventually deteriorate and he will return to being a pauper. But the irony is that's how a lot of people approach love or love relationships. I need to hold on to this person, cling to this person, hang on to this person because by having them, I'm no longer alone. By having them, I'm someone of value. Somebody loves me. I am not a pauper of love anymore. And now that someone cares about me, someone values me, I can now define myself as someone of value. Unfortunately, you're still a pauper. You've simply deceived yourself into thinking you're rich, but here's why. What is the solution for the pauper who clings to his gold coin? Again, to be fair, it is natural for him to want to cling to it. Why is that? Because he does not think of himself as someone of value. So, what opportunity is he going to have to generate value? Well, based on how he sees himself, there is none. There are no opportunities for people who believe that they don't deserve them. There is no money for people who don't think that they can add value to society because they mistakenly believe that they inherently lack value. Why do they think that they lack value? Because they don't have the external thing that designates one to be seen as someone of value. But everybody has value. If you believe you don't, you're right. People will try to motivate you to believe that you have value, but if you've been abused into believing you don't have any, and you're stubborn enough to keep believing that, you will destroy yourself. You will cling to the coin, terrified to part from it, and never spend it in order to get the goods and the services necessary to keep you living, to keep you alive. You will die clutching a gold coin that you never spend, and depending on market conditions, might even lose value. Thus, the solution is that the pauper must redefine himself or herself and decide to be someone of value. So, then they can even generate their own income, generate their own wealth, and not solely rely on it from external things or people or circumstances. So, how does this apply to love? We cling to love because we do not love ourselves. We believe that the primary source of love is external. Another person, career achievement, or even money. This is why we suffer so much in relationships, because we cling to this external person. We make demands on how they should be to the point of even abusing them. Or we trade in our self-respect and let others destroy our boundaries for a relationship. But of course, abuse is not self-love, right? Well, abuse is not love and it's not self-love. So, yeah, but ultimately, for a lot of us, what we end up doing, we blame the other person for not being loving enough. But in reality, you don't love yourself. That's the actual problem. If this person truly didn't love you enough, okay, cool. Let's say that's actually true. So why are you still there? Because again, you're still in this mistaken belief that love is an external thing, like the primary source of love is external. You don't actually love yourself. It doesn't matter what the other person is really doing, They could be extremely giving, it will never be enough. You could be extremely giving, it will never be enough for them. So just as the pauper has to redefine themselves as someone of value in order to attain value, the pauper of love has to redefine themselves as someone they love. And then they experience love. Now, it would be cool if someone could disprove this, because a lot of people are saying like, oh, do I really need to love myself in order to love someone else? But honestly, all I've ever seen is, people start to love themselves because they have a significant other, because they have money, because they have something of value. But once the relationship is under threat, their self-love is under threat. They panic, they sabotage, they suffer. This is why there is no need to hold on to love and no point in clinging to it, right? Only by letting people be free. Am I even phrasing that right? I don't even know. Only by allowing people to be free will you know if they're actually down for you or not. What would be the point in clinging to someone who isn't committed to fostering the relationship with you? What would be the point in clinging to someone who abuses you into doing what they want? What would be the point in clinging to someone who does what you want, not because they care about you, but because they're afraid of being alone? There is no point. So let people go and give them the freedom to do what they want. If you love someone, set them free. If they come back, they're yours. If they don't, they never were. You probably heard that before, right? That's the reason. That's the, longer explanation as to why that quote is true. There is no need to negotiate being loved by an abuser or a kiss ass, because if you love yourself, you understand that external love cannot beat self love. Maybe I should say that again. I don't know. There is no need to negotiate being loved by an abuser or a kiss ass, because if you love yourself, you understand that external love cannot beat self love. Others people love can come close. You can definitely value it. You can definitely cherish it, but it cannot surpass. It can't surpass self love. So to wrap up, here are the three most important reasons that self love is more important. 1. Self love is the conduit for you to experience love from other people. Without it, other people and God Himself, herself, themselves could love you all like to the max, to the extreme, but you would never experience it, because 2, if you use someone's love as the means to love yourself, what is going to happen if they leave or cheat or die? You're back to square one. So you might as well give yourself the love that will never fail. And 3, if you are someone who is resistant towards loving yourself, why would you give yourself something good anyway? You don't love yourself, so you have no choice but to let yourself down.